Hello everyone, welcome to PAM Next CPD lecture series. My name is Yvonne and I'm your moderator today. So a brief background about myself. I have graduated from the Architectural Association recently and I'm currently teaching at UCSI University. So today we have two esteemed speakers who have worked abroad. If you have looked at our posters, today's topic is about Malaysians who have working experience abroad. Our first speaker, Kamelia Jambari, and second speaker will be Beh Hooi Shan. So I'll just introduce them briefly before we start our lecture. So Camilla was the lead architect for Ibuku, an international bamboo architecture firm in Bali for 2 years. She was involved in both local and international projects where she learned different techniques and methods in bamboo building design and construction. So her experience there taught her the reality of working with bamboo and the challenges of green designs, enriching her knowledge on sustainable architecture. So without further ado, I'll pass the floor to Ms. Camelia.
Hello, thank you. Okay, should I share the screen now? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Camilla Jambari. First of all, I would like to thank you, Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, for inviting me to share my short experience actually working in Bali for 2 years. So I'll just start right away. So just as an introduction, so Bali, it takes about 3 hours flight. Is in Indonesia. It's a very lovely island. So the place where I work is called Ibuku. Ibuku means like Mother Nature, like our mother. So that's how the name came about. So Ibuku is located in a place called Abian Semal. It is located in between Ubud, about 15 minutes to Ubud and also 15 minutes to Denpasar. So I think a lot of us have maybe visited or holiday to Bali, probably know some of their famous places like Kuta, their beautiful beaches, Canggu, Seminyak and everything is on the southern side of Bali. The northern side is like the Mount Agung. So the office is located here in Abian Semal. Ibuku actually has produced hundreds of bamboo architecture around the world, but I think they are most well known for their works in the Green School. So Green School is owned by, not owned, but managed by the Hardy family, John Hardy and the family there, like Elora Hardy. So the Green School here in this image, this is their school compound. All the buildings are made from bamboo structure. And this is one of their first bamboo buildings that they built in the Green School, now becoming their administrative office. This is one of their popular buildings, and it was built, I think, more than 10 years ago. And this is the arch, their latest building that they have built there, completed in 2022, this year. So you can see the improvement, development in their technique, not just the design, but then the construction method and just the simplicity of it shows their maturity in exploring bamboo method in construction. It's very simple, but yet very elegant building. And this is in Green School. Another popular or famous building from them is Sharma Springs. This is a villa, a private villa, a 6-story villa. I can see this is basically a byproduct of a project where the client give you unlimited amount of creativity, freedom, and also budget and time, and it shows in their And Ibuku definitely delivers, I think. So this is the architecture and the interior. The amount of the level of details that they put here is amazing. Up to the detailing of the finishes and things like that. And the building is, I think, so beautiful that the design has a permanent display spot in V&A Museum in London. So it's a very beautiful building. And then they also have the Green Village. Also, this is in Bali, in Abian Semal area. So this is a series of villages made from bamboo, of course, created and master planned by Ibuku themselves. And this village are managed or like lived by a group of community that not just believe in bamboo architecture, but also green living as a whole. So there are a series of bamboo houses like this in that villages. So all these beautiful buildings you can find there. They also have a hotel, like a resort called the Bamboo Indah in Ubud. This is a more of a place where they explore, very experimental in design. It's more playful, I can say, in terms of the space and then the form, the shape and things like that. It's more for the experience, and it's more suitable as a resort. You can see here on the right, this is one of their their popular villa that they have there. Is totally open, and it's like on top of a hill overlooking the beautiful greenery and the river. And they have like this capsule like pot just for the bed, and they do have air conditioning system here. So the experience is something that they seek for this kind of architecture. And this is another type of houses that they have here. You can see it's more maybe protected, and they explore the usage of bamboo with other material like steel to provide like comfort level, a certain of comfort level to those who are more comfortable with the thing that they are used to, like an enclosed area. They don't want it to be too open, but at the same time still providing that level of experience that they don't have at their home. So I think that there's a lot other beautiful design and creation that Ibuku has developed or has made. So do browse their website for all these beautiful projects at ibuku.com. So this is the office. It's called Aldo's Kitchen. There's a history behind it, but we can, the form of this building is spiral like a seashells, and it's very beautiful building. It's very open, but the working here, like people here is always very hectic, very hectic, and it's filled with people that is driven by passion, and every day people hustle here. It's filled with architects. Some of them, there's a combination of foreigners and also the local Indonesian and Balinese who actually graduated with architectural bamboo architecture degree. So they are actually the specialists in bamboo. And these are all the people who have the skill set to actually produce bamboo architecture, something that I didn't realize the importance of actually having that that training in bamboo before you actually indulge yourself in bamboo architecture. Is a totally different scenario altogether. And I discovered that, and it humbles me a lot and gives me a lot of respect to all these people who are working here. Bamboo itself, working with the director Ilora Hardy and the people there who has experience in bamboo is quite different. I can say that the design or like the meeting, the discussion is always about the bamboo itself. It's not for the for us or like for other things. It's always the bamboo are put first. So the question Elora always asks is like, okay, what does the bamboo wants to do here? Like, what can we do with the bamboo here? Because bamboo is a very special materials. It's natural wooden grass. It can grow very fast, 3 to 5 years to mature and to be harvested. And it's very like, it can grow up to 16, 17 meters long. And you can see here, this is an example of a project that we're doing that that we had. This is actually a structure that we are doing for a place in Las Vegas, USA. So this is bamboo petung, or in Malaysia, I think buluh betung, and it's called Dendrocalamus asper. For this project, the challenges was not just the design, but the logistic and the authority requirement issues and things like that, that we had to resolve as we do the project. So as you can see here, this is actually the hyperboloid form, a form that can create structural strength using this bamboo pole. So bamboo itself is very strong. It's actually, it has a compression strength of that is higher than concrete. They also have a tensile strength equivalent to steel. So they are actually very strong and at the same time very, very versatile. If they are treated well and they are being protected from the sun and also from water, from the rain, they can last many, many years, like all the buildings that you can find in Bali. I would like to just play a short video of one of the work that was done here. This is actually a mock-up. So for this huge building, before we send it to the US, to Las Vegas, we need to build it and do a mock-up to make sure that it works. So the first problem was to find a place that we can actually construct this, erect this huge structure. So that was a problem on its own. And then we need to test it again and again to make sure that the building, the structure can be erected in Las Vegas. So talking about working with bamboo, it's definitely very challenging. I can say that. For example, like these are some of the samples that they repeatedly deliver to Las Vegas. The problem is in Bali, bamboo needs to be dry, and it's usually dried in the natural climate outside under the sun. So the moisture content usually in Bali is about 25% as you dry the bamboo. But the drier the bamboo is actually the better. So in Las Vegas, the requirement to dry bamboo is 17 to 15% moisture content. So it needs to be drier. So it cannot be dry outside in the natural climate. It has to be put in a drying kiln. So the drying kiln, to dry this very long 16 meters bamboo is very limited in Indonesia. There's only like a few places, 1 or 2 places that have this size for drying kiln, the drying kiln. So, so we need to bring this bamboo to that factory to dry this so that we can satisfy the requirement from the Las Vegas authority. So these are all the challenges that we had during the project, during when we were doing these projects. So there's a lot of, these are some of the picture that I took during the process of preparing this structure to be sent to Las Vegas. A lot of tests needs to be done to fulfill the requirement at the same time to make sure that this bamboo can be safely delivered to Las Vegas that has the totally different climate from Bali. So these are the actually site engineer, and these are all the craftsmen who is actually listening to his instruction, how can they work with the structure to be delivered to Las Vegas. And you can see that even the fabric needs to be done manually so that it fits the actual structure for the bamboo building. At the same time, there's a limitation on the skill worker that can be sent there. That means that the contractor in Las Vegas needs to learn how to deal with the bamboo, how to actually even like take care of the bamboo, handle the bamboo when the bamboo is there and they have zero experience in working with bamboo. So it was another issue that we need to resolve. So we communicate a lot with sending them like basically training the contractor first on how they can manage the bamboo and then construct the bamboo there without the Balinese being there to construct them. So so these are one of the like things that we give to them, basically like giving them like instruction like one by one, like IKEA manuals, like how to construct the structure basically. So like we do a compilation of pictures to show them step by step on how to construct the bamboo structure, as well as like videos to demonstrate how to do that. Even that, they find it very challenging to actually construct the bamboo as how it should be, despite the bamboo being like basically one of the simplest structure Ibuku has ever designed. So there's many setback on that, but I mean like this is the final construction product, the final result basically that they put. So in the end, it's all went well, but it took a lot of time and effort from everyone. So this was very interesting. And talking more about the experience, the differences that I experienced working there is that I can say most of them, if not all of them, the architects and the designers, even the craftsmen, the drafters and the tukang there are very artistic. They are basically artists who work a lot with drawings and sketches, and it shows. These are like some of their beautiful sketches to showcase their ideas and design. And the only, I think, medium for them to really show this is by hand drawings. And these are important skills for them to work with, to work in Ibuku, because like they are very into organic form, and they're very close to get inspiration with the nature. So hand sketches are being used a lot in Ibuku during the design. You can see that their floor plans and sections are being drawn very beautifully. And these sketches of ideas to show their design is impressive on its own. I think it's a art on its own. These are because the Balinese are very artistic people. They are born, I think, surrounded by their beautiful cultures, their religion, ceremonies that they have. Everyone are very, I can say, skilled with their hands, and they are surrounded by nature that they are like very close with, like they live in the nature. The Trihita Karana menyatu dengan alam. So that is their like way of living. So you can see them everywhere in Bali, like this, very religious, and their music, their culture are very like detailed, I can say. Like their old temple here, the level of detailing in their carvings are, for me, is really amazing. These are a picture of the ceremony during handover. So these are something that I think very special in Bali. When you hand over a project to the client, they have a ceremony. The Balinese held a ceremony to pray, and then they do this beautiful like persembahan like this, and like good food, and then they celebrate during the handover. So this is the clients, and these are the locals who pray for like positive, I mean like good things for the house when they live there. So these are, so I want to share another video. This is during the Independence Day, Indonesia Independence Day, where they held a lot of activities with all the staff there, the architects, and also all the tukang and the carpenters. So these are one of the contests that they have there. So they make angklung from bamboo. So it's a competition of who can do the angklung the fastest. So I mean, this just show that these are all very young people, younger than me, and they have the skill to work with bamboo. So it shows that, you know, this tradition are still very strong in Bali. So that's what makes it very you can see all this beautiful bamboo structure are being made successfully. It's because of them. So mad respect to the local Balinese for making all these beautiful buildings. And these are the models. These are the most important element during the construction of bamboo. Basically, these models are not just for studying the form, but it's also used as the structure. This is basically their construction drawings. So during the construction, of course, they do have the construction drawings, but these are the most important elements to be there for the tukang to refer to when they build the buildings. So basically, this structure represent the actual building of for the bamboo structure. The size for all these lidi are actually the actual size that represent the building on site. So if there's a problem with this model, definitely there will be problems with the actual buildings. So that's that shows how important it is to for them to make these bamboo models. So even up to this most complicated, complex looking buildings are actually serve a purpose for construction and to study the flaws and any problems that they will find during construction is actually from the model itself. Also to study the interior, the space inside. So these are the normal occurrence in the office where the architects, this is one of the architects in Ibuku doing a discussion with the site supervisor in the office using the model as a reference on site. So this, you will find this on site during construction. So normally they will build two models, the exact replica of the actual model, for one to be kept in the office and one to be put in the on site. So I mean, like, this is the model should represent the actual buildings when they construct it. Definitely in Ibuku they still use AutoCAD. But I can say that it's quite different from the normal CAD drawing that I normally do here in Malaysia. I cannot imagine constructing this in AutoCAD, all this curve and organic form that they do. They have to produce it in AutoCAD as well. So the draftsmen are actually trained to work with bamboo structure. So they have the knowledge in bamboo construction for them to be able to understand this. This is an example of structural calculation. After the schematic design and architecture is completed, they will send this to the bamboo engineer, structural engineer, very similar to our process. But this engineer specializes in bamboo. Like, this is Dr. Ashar Putra. He is a specialist in bamboo structure. So he is the engineer. So they use software called the SAP 2000, and then they basically do the calculation to check the structure. So these are the analysis and calculation for the bamboo that we propose to do for the projects. And these are the calculations and the report that the engineer, the structure engineer, will submit to you to show that if the structural is okay or not. So from our part, the architect, you know, normally we just check the summary, like we don't understand all this calculation. So what we want to make sure is that the sizes for the bamboo is correct and it suits to our design. So these are the important information that we need from the engineer as well. So from there, normally these are the process that makes you headache lah for many days lah for the architect. So, and then just want to share with you also some of the examples of construction drawing that was done by the architects and the draftsmen. It's very similar, at the same time very different. These are the structural bamboo construction drawing that is produced by the draftsmen. Like I mentioned before, they are trained to understand bamboo details. For example, this roof structure made from bamboo. I can go very detailed on the explanation for each of these details, but I think we can go through this and just look at this. So these are all produced by their draftsmen, and normally they are local Balinese too, but graduated in architecture. So all this for me is, I first time saw this and I'm just like clueless. I don't know if I can do this, but I mean, like, you learn as you go along. Like this example of roof structure is nothing that I've seen before. And it's been built like this. The selection of bamboo was also important during the process. When we there's many type of bamboo. There are many types. There's also black bamboo and blonde bamboo. So when they say black bamboo, there's also many tones of black bamboo that you can find. So sourcing for the right material for the design was also an important step for the architects there. So we have our, Ibuku has their own factory that collects all this bamboo for their projects. So they do have the capacity to provide all this material just for the projects. And this is Pak Ashar, the engineer, who do site visit, and this is where we discuss any problems regarding the structure for the bamboo. Site visit normally on site like this, where we gather and check any flaws, the type of bamboo. We want to check if there's any cracks or any like a structural issue that needs to be fixed. For example, here we are quite worried with the quality of the bamboo that we get from outside, since we cannot get enough bamboo material in Bali. We need to source out from Flores. So I mean, the quality might be different, and it was quite a problem during this time. There's cracks. And these are also some of the examples of the ongoing construction during the visits. We also work a lot with other engineer or other consultant or specialist. This is sustainable engineer. He is checking the thermal, I can say, like the thermal levels of this roof using copper material. So they Ibuku experimenting in using sustainable material such as copper as well. So we need to check the thermal effect from outside and inside. So he has the specialty to do that. So we work a lot with other specialists to outside and inside of Bali. Basically, these are the normal view that you will see during your visit. During the construction stage lah. The first time I saw this, I don't know which one is up, which one is down, which one is left and right lah. So it's a new experience for me visiting bamboo construction like this. It's very massive. You can see the scale of the workers, the tukang here in comparison with the bamboo buildings. Since their temporary structure is also made from bamboo, it's a very lightweight structure. So one column that normally requires maybe 10 people to carry it, maybe only require 2 or 3 people. So like this one, these are all temporarily being tied on site. So you want to check the positioning of all this bamboo on top of this river stone is correct or not. And I have no idea what I was looking at this moment, but I learned that it is definitely something very technical, and it's very important to be precise on the positioning of this column to ensure the structural integrity of this bamboo structure. I would like to play just another short video of this construction site. So at this stage, while doing the inside of the structure, they are starting to put in the roofing. So basically, this is my view during the construction. Yeah, so it looks very hectic. At the same time, looks very interesting how like one person like Tukang is enjoying his time in the shades, working with bamboo, not a very harsh material, you know, it's a natural material. It's very, very fun to see this kind of scenery. And the level of details your eyes can feast on in a bamboo structure is endless. I can see the detailing of the basket weave. The detailing of the structure itself is an eye piece for me. The detailing, like what I enjoy most on top of learning how to construct and to design with bamboo is the amount of details that they put in all their projects, like this shower head, this water tap, the light fittings, all are put into like, they do it with passion basically, and it shows. Like this basket, say the client says that, oh, they like open space, they want it to be open, but you know, like they want a TV area and it needs to be protected and air conditioned. So, you know, like instead of just providing a room, they create this basket, life-size basket for them to, you know, have this a bit of a privacy and comfort when when the weather is hot and they want to use the aircon. And some of the basket weave are for bathroom, so it doesn't need to be an enclosed, but rather like an experience of a spiral where you provide that privacy at the same time, keeping it open and basically beautiful. Like the light fittings design are all made in the office. A lot of effort up to the detailing part, like the mirror in the bathroom, all are put into consideration, which I enjoy the most. Like the fan regulator are all handmade and custom designed to fit the design. And the buildings, these are hook, these are tissue holders. So all these are endless when you visit their buildings. Very enjoyable. Like this towel holders, door handle, doorknob, electrical appliances and things like that. It's the most enjoyable. They also work a lot with people outside who wants to experiment with new things, like working with acrylic to design something with bamboo for lighting design, something innovative and experimental. So they do that even like during the COVID. Just, you know, they won't leave the sanitizer just like that. They need a casing for that. That's how artistic they are, I think. So so on top of that, the interior design, how do they do it in this organic form and very organic architecture? These are all made by Ibuku as well. The beautiful detailings of the finishes and the furniture inside are custom made. And this is how they do it, because the form are flexible. I mean, like they change on site. So they need to like literally put paper on the floor as a reference for them to draw directly there, and then bring that reference like details to factory to build their furnitures. So you can see these are the interior designers who measure their work, their furniture or built-ins on site, and then bring them back to the factory. So this is the level of work that they put in to make sure that the built-ins fit the organic form of the buildings. So this is how they created this wonderful interior. I would like to share this one. So basically, the process is very challenging to build this and it shows in the results. So these are one of the wall to enter the bathroom, but they don't just make it a normal wall. They make it into this beautiful rotating shelf that makes it beautiful, fun, and at the same time very creative. So that's all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Camelia. I think you've inspired a lot of people in the audience with the projects you worked on. It's really, really beautiful. And also thank you for sharing so many like technical details that we've never seen if you don't show it to us. We usually see like the beautiful like final finished product on Arch Daily and things like that. Like we don't know so much effort has been put into behind the scenes. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll leave the questions later on. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So we'll move on to the next speaker, Hooi Shan. So I'll just introduce her first. Hooi Shan graduated from Tongji University and University Putra Malaysia. She likes to explore architecture from various angles. During her time at Tongji University, she worked with Philip F. Yuan on digital architecture. So she is currently a project manager for a commercial building related project for a mega multinational corporation. So without further ado, the floor is yours, Hooi Shan.
All right, thank you, Yvonne. Let me share my screen now. All right, so first of all, hi everyone, my name is Hooi Shan. Thanks for having me here. So just a little background of myself. So I completed my Master of Architecture in Tongji University and I graduated just actually 3 months ago. And prior to that, I finished my Bachelor of Architecture in University of Putra, Malaysia. And after that, I actually worked briefly in a local firm in Penang for about 9 to 10 months. So the reason I went to Shanghai is actually quite unplanned. And I bumped into a senior who I met in a gallery one day, and then she was telling me, why not you just apply, Tongji University in Shanghai is a good university. So during that time, actually, I've already attended interview for University Malaysia, and in fact, I already gotten a seat there. But at the end, I applied scholarship and I got it. So I just went to Shanghai and just want to explore something different from Malaysia. So but unfortunately, when I was in Shanghai, the COVID breakout only after one semester. So technically, I was only in Shanghai physically for about 5 months. And after that, I came back home and continue the collaboration and work together with my professor. So my experience here might not be an comprehensive example of how working in China is, but I will try to share my personal experience from my point of view, and if that could relate to you, I will be very happy to share more. So yeah, so that's the reason why I quit working abroad instead of just working abroad in Shanghai. So this is a photo taken in my school, Tongji University. So the first man here is actually my professor, and this is a bridge where he printed with his 3D printing machine. And after this printing, they will, this is like a annual event where they will take bridge as the object to study how to use different material to fabricate and put it on site and let 10 to 20 people to stand on it to test the tensility. So this is one of the project. So my professor is very happy and trying to jump on it to try out the strength of that bridge. So this is all done by student, and my professor is a very resourceful people where he always utilize student, whoever that is capable to help him to do any commercial project. So before I go into depth of our working experience, my working experience with him, I would like to share some of the project my professor did that caught my attention to study under his unit. So this is a project in Sichuan, and it's called In Bamboo, Zhuli. So this project fully exemplifies the type of technique and typical approach my professor usually does in his project, which is to explore new construction technology and then combine it with, very common traditional construction material in that region. So, and in this case, the material that is common in that area is ceramic tiles and wood. So, when I was doing research which unit I want to join back in Malaysia, in Shanghai, I actually submitted my application to 3 professors. And then this is a professor that caught my eye because of this one project. So I was amazed by this project because, from human eyes level, from the side, it is really humble. The building is sitting in the rural setting in such a, graceful way. But, when you zoom in and you look inside, you are from top. So this is the top look. You will see that the organic form of that clay roof is very heavy and very rigid. But, somehow the execution of the work is so graceful, it make it look so effortless. And it's so beautiful that it actually blend into the surrounding. So this is why, it really caught my eye because before that, my typical impression of, digital architecture is that you have to do something wow, something Zaha Hadid. So the moment I saw this, I really feel like the approach my professor was taking is really interesting. So that bring me to, Shanghai, and this is the office there, his office. So his office actually compiled of 2 parts. One part is Archi Union, and another part is Fed Union. So Archi Union is my professor's commercial firm. So he is the boss. And then Fab Union is his research unit. So it's something like, GTP, they have like their own research unit, and they also have a unit where only do commercial projects. So it's something like that. Then, so in this this is the building layout. So the entrance is from here. So you walk here, walk inside, and then you turn right. The first thing you'll see is a green field in front of the building. And then you continue walk inside. And then this yellow part, which is indicated as a lecture hall here, is actually right now a commercial office. And then when you turn right, this purple section is where the Fab Union located, which is where my table located. And then if you continue to walk into this space, it is a Fab Lab where you will see some CNC molding machines, some robotic arm over there. Basically, it's an experiment space for students and his hired researchers, full-time researcher. And then over this side, the green color side is AU, what they call as AU space, but basically it's just a gallery. So whenever, sometimes my professor would have some guests coming around, scholars from other school or other country. So they would just bring them, have a walk, like a U-shaped walk, to introduce this Archi Union plus Fab Union. And then on top, there is a tea house where sometimes my professor will do Zoom and just teach, do some online teaching. And with that background, he has a very curvy reinforced concrete wall at his back, which unfortunately I couldn't find any picture, but that was a really cool space. And then what is coolest is actually this robot factory. So I think I have the photo. Oh yeah. So this is a tea house, and then the gallery space, And then, oh yeah, I actually found a photo. Yeah, so this is the photo where, it shows the very curvy, very experimental type of form which my professor did for his own office. And then this is the robot factory where it's about 12 to 40 meters high, about 3 meters high. And then these are two hanging robotic arm. They usually use this robot factory to do prototype, not commercial. They have another site where they have 10 to 12 this kind of robot, but it's on ground to do their commercial project, which I will show later. So basically, this is in terms of work environment, I would say that it is quite refreshing to me because it's not like the typical environment where you can imagine, especially in China, right? A lot of high rise and all. And you would think that most of the typical architecture firm in that area is, inside high rise. So this concept sort of actually reminded me of APW Bangsar Back at Home, where they have like a neighborhood concept and a lot of things, different activities and event going on. So I really like the working culture and the working environment here. So this is where my office is. This is the purple section in the middle. So overlook outside is a green patch. And then on the left side, this is where my professor's office and meeting rooms. And then my seat was located somewhere around here. And then this door is leading to the entrance to the Fab Lab behind. And then next. So this is the green field outside, where above it is actually some industrial steel structure roof. And then this on right bottom is actually a shell structure where they experimented and put it here, sort of like a focus point and gallery for people who visit the area. So I actually have to, go back to, because I lost my phone spoiled when I was in Shanghai. So I actually don't really have any photo. So these are some of the, remaining photo I have from my Instagram. And yeah, so the video in the middle, right, is actually what I wanted to show is some of the furnitures in the office, right? They actually fabricated themselves. So this is the prototype where they printed with 3D printing. And then after that, they send it for fabrication in real scale. So in my professor's office, they always take things quite serious where, yeah, you're cute. So they always take things quite serious. Like actually this project, right, is designed by just a pure student, like bachelor student. So they will always take the best idea from student and commercialize it or make it into real thing. I mean, one thing is they have the resource, and second thing is they act very fast. They don't really think much, like they don't really spend their time sitting down and plan too much. They always do, and from execution, they learn and they take that key learning and continue to do another project and then keep on repeat the process until they become expert in that field. So that is something that I learned from them, and something, back I don't see much back in home. So which in the next few slides, I'm gonna use 3 adjectives to describe the whole experience and the whole culture I have in China, in Shanghai. So the first word is abrupt. So by abrupt, I don't even use speed or fast because I think those 2 words are not enough to describe the pace I experienced there. So I would like to use one experience to describe why I think abrupt is the best word to describe the experience there. So there was one day, I think, after I came back to Malaysia because of COVID, few days later, I received a text from my professor in the WeChat group, in fact. So he asked us to design an emergency COVID kiosk project, COVID shelter. So that time was 11:30 at night. And he asked us to submit the proposal next day morning, 9 or 10 a.m. And then I was like quite culture shock in a way, like I was about to sleep already. And then I have no choice but to follow, because I can't, just go to sleep without doing anything. And the next day have nothing to submit. So I try my best to stay up the night and then just do whatever I can. And then, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, maybe this is just a design project. I didn't know, how serious it is. So the way I design, I, take the modular concept and design a unit. And then I play around with this unit and make it into, different configuration, consider the circulation on site, and then whether how big we want is all adjustable. And then the next day when I saw my friend presented this, I was kind of like surprised, because it looked very simple and it looked basic. But after a few days later, my professor announced that this idea of my friends is adopted and is gonna execute on site. So I was like super culture shock, and I was like very surprised that they actually take our idea seriously, because in the moment my professor announced this project, I was thinking maybe this is just a competition, or maybe this is just something that he wants us to do to incorporate into our thesis later. But no, actually, so this is how my friend, design. They actually they have all the practical knowledge in their mind, like they know what size is the container and all. I mean, for me as a student back then, I didn't really know so much of this detail. But actually my friend, she did this in a very practical, super practical way, and put so much practicality consideration into it. And in fact, at the end of the day, it got constructed on site and being used in the entire campus. But because I was there, I didn't have any opportunity to take any photo. So this is an example of how fast things can happen in China. In fact, there is another interesting experience. So I shared that I was there for 4 to 5 months. So I was living in a block where it's only international student. And then before you go into live, you walk past a common area. And then, during that 4 to 5 months, the design of that common area has refreshed 3 times, which, every time, sometimes I come back from school and I enter and saw, is it a different building? Like that kind of pace, I didn't understand. But I think that's how they get used to it, and that's how they live their life, at least in Shanghai, from what my observation. And then second word is teamwork. So we interpret teamwork as we have a job, and then we segregate into maybe 3 parts, and then we distribute it to 3 persons. But for them, teamwork is slightly they brought the word teamwork to another level. So when I was there, first few days, my professor told me, please study all your seniors' research work and pick one which you are interested to be your research topic. So I was kind of surprised, because I've never encountered this kind of dictation back in my hometown. And then, but I didn't say no to that. I went to study my seniors research, and then I got to know why he wanted to do this, because they actually take their research quite seriously as well. They will make their research into a reality. They don't waste their time doing any type of too much theoretical research, at least for my professor. Because he's a businessman minded professor. So my professor's unit actually have 4 different directions. So the first direction is brickwork. So they will just study brick. They will go on site and get their hand dirty and do all the works they need to understand brick, and of course with robot. And then another material is concrete. So with concrete, they will also do the same thing. They will study how to use 3D printing to print concrete and all this. And then third one is environmental design. So with environmental design, they will, actually construct a wind simulation machine from scratch. And then they will 3D print like a small scale urban building and put into that machine and run the simulation. So it's not like they just use any software to run the wind simulation, but they will also construct a real model, a physical machine to run the test. And then it's all done by students. And then lastly is actually a new direction. They started since the year I joined. So actually my personal thesis is about how to use AI to design architecture. Then in terms of teamwork, like what I said, I came back to Malaysia and I didn't get to work closely with them physically. So, but still that didn't stop me from collaborating with them. So my professor actually invited me to join this project. It's called Nanjing Happy Valley Pavilion. So this is a structure where they 3D printed. It's about 2 to 3 story high, and it's entirely 3D printed. So for this project, my professor assigned me and 3 other classmates of mine to do this project. But of course, we were only involved in execution part. We didn't involve in the design part. So how we did this project is that, so this is the structure of that project. The main steel structure skeleton was already designed when we were asked to help. The secondary keel frame was already designed as well. So the remaining part is the 3D printed part. So the panels and the nodes and the connector. So these are the 3 parts that me and 3 of my friends, we need to use grasshopper to adjust the size, the thickness for every panels. So this grasshopper file was generated by one of my senior PhD researcher in the office. So all we need to do is they will segregate like the whole structure into different sections, and then each of us are assigned with 1 or 2 sections. So in that 1 or 2 sections, there will be hundreds of panels. So that is how we do it. So this is a photo. This is a factory where I mentioned earlier. They have about 10 to 12 of this kind of a robot on site to print 24/7. So for the entire project, they use about not more than a month to finish the printing part. So as you can see here, this is how they print. So basically we will have to generate the file to feed this robot. So you can think of us as I mean, in a kidding way, as a cheap rate labor to help them to finish this project. But it was a very precious experience. I really loved it because we get to learn, because I didn't have any coding background, but because of this project, I get to learn how to manage Grasshopper, and then also get to learn the technical part of how to construct such a big pavilion in a very short amount of time. So yeah, and then this is how they construct on site with a lot of scissor sleeve, and then every panels are labeled with very humble masking tape. And then at the end of the day, they constructed it in just a very brief, if I'm not mistaken, from design to completion, it was just 3 to 4 months. So yeah. And then next word is resources. So it says we have all the resources you need, whether you can use it depends on your ability to do so. So this is what my professor told me in my first month in Shanghai. And if you could read in Chinese, it actually sounds kind of arrogant. So it is basically saying that you can do anything you want, you can imagine in my place, as long as you have the capability. So in fact, I'm not sure about how's every firm in China, but at least for someone like my professor, so his background is quite interesting, where he is a dean in my university. And then he is a very well-known figure in China for his work and also his connection with scholars in the West. So, in China, a lot of them are very great designer, but they are quite isolated because of the language barrier. But for my professor, he doesn't have this issue. He can actually speak very good English. So because of that, he can reach with a lot of resources in the West. So this is one of the project where it's called Digital Future. So it's an annual event my professor held for, to have this kind of architectural education. And this platform is entirely staffed and run by volunteers. So of course, we as his student have to, help out too. So throughout my 2.5 years under my professor's unit, I actually help out two events. So you can see like this event is actually like a 7 days long event where they have split into 3 time zones. And what they did is they invite a lot of course, they form a very strong committee. And after that, they will invite a lot of scholars from different school, different university to join as a volunteer pro bono. You see all this professor here, right? They are all they are sharing for free. So it's actually a very strong community. So my part, when I was there, I was helping in marketing, in drafting articles for sharing on WeChat, on YouTube. And then I was also hosting a few sessions in YouTube as well. So all this kind of experience was actually very brief, but it gives me a lot of exposure, although the time was very brief. And then other than this, my professor also is running a WeChat article page. I'm not sure how anything in our understanding is equivalent to that, because that is like, you can think of it as like a Facebook. So my professor runs a account where every week they will upload some article, and then that article is open for public for everyone to read. So as a student or part-time worker over there, I have to produce 1 article every month. So me and 3 of my friends, we are taking turns. So actually, the first article that I produced, I think I sort of blessed with the first timer luckiness. It actually broke their record. The total amount of read actually reached out to 20,000 people, which I was really surprised. But also partly, I think it's because of, the marketing strategy was really good. My PhD senior actually changed my title, which I think really helped, because that title is kind of clickbaity. And then, and then after that first article, I also created a series of articles, which is surrounded the topic which I did for my thesis, which is using generative adversarial network. It's a GAN model, machine learning model, to generate architectural facade design. So I think I didn't include my thesis in this presentation, because mostly I just want to share bits of culture and experience I had back in Shanghai, and while I was studying from and work from home. So I think that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, that's it. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you so much, Hui Shan. Well, I think it's a great contrast between both speakers. We started off with a very organic, very traditional, I would say, kind of craft, and then transitioning into a more modern and organic form as well. So I think it's quite interesting to have both speakers on today. And so if you didn't know, or if you didn't notice, that we posted a nudge. If you would like to ask any questions, you can just post it in the chat box, and then we'll bring it up to the speakers to answer. So we have a few questions here, but some of them I think is already answered by our speakers. So the ones that has been answered already, I think I will not bring them up. For example, like what software that do you use to model bamboo? I think Camelia answered that. She showed like the bamboo models and AutoCAD. So yeah, I think there's one interesting question. So I think it applies to both speakers. So they asked, what made you decide to make the move outside? So Camelia or Hui Shan wants to take that question.
I think I have.
Maybe Camelia first.
Camelia. No, Camelia first. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like for me, I mean, like there's always that thoughts for me to try to work outside. There's always been like something that I want to do in the in my lifetime, maybe to gain experience working outside. But I was working, like during those time, I was already working in the design and build office in Malaysia for almost 8 years. So it was a very good company. I had a very good relationship with the office and the boss. The work is good, the place is good, the project was good. So it was very comfortable, but and most of the staff there worked there for a very long time, like 10, 15, even 20 years. It shows that you have a very good company. But at the same time, I was getting worried that I get too comfortable and that I might be missing opportunities to do other things. And I realized that there are many, even though I had a good mentor during my working in Malaysia, I'm sure there's also many good mentor that I can like learn from. So that's what makes me decide to actually try to apply work outside of Malaysia, despite of like it being quite late at my age. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Camilla. Hui Shan, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think actually I have already answered earlier. I actually didn't decide to move outside, but it was just purely, I think luck to met that senior, and from her I know the opportunity, and then I just go for it. But actually, for me, I think from my subconscious, I always want to, explore different thing in architecture. Like from my first internship in Penang, I was with Architect LA, and I was working mostly in the heritage area, heritage-based project. And then after that, in my master, I decided to take a short turn to explore digital architecture. So both of these are really interesting. And right now I'm working, neither of these two area, but more on the commercialized architecture and building projects. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that question. I think I have a question for you guys. So I guess I think the similarity between both of you is that you have this strong curiosity about something else that you didn't know. So you guys applied to wherever overseas that you went to. So I guess how did you overcome that kind of the sense of fear, because you're going into something totally different compared to what you were doing before back in Malaysia? How do you guys overcome that? I'm sure like a lot of people who wants to go overseas, they have this kind of fear of the unknown and not sure whether they can tackle the challenges that they are presented with when they are going overseas. So how did you overcome that? Maybe Camelia can go first.
I think, yeah, for me, of course, I can understand that feeling when you move to somewhere like new, even like the place itself, the country itself is very different from your country. So there's always that feeling of uncertainty, and then like it's very scary basically, but you just need to take things step by step, and then you need to be patient from your side. Understand that you are new and that you are learning, but you are keen to improve yourself and take everything positively. I think it's normal everywhere. I mean, it's going to be difficult at the beginning, but as time goes, then you get used to it and you learn, and then it will be easier, definitely. So that's how I overcome the problems.
Thank you, Camelia. What about Hooi Shan?
I think the fear can stem from many factors, but I think one of the biggest factors for many people, especially if they are kind of into their career for many years already, is about financial burden. And I think with that kind of fear, whether to take a big leap to go overseas and put down everything you have built in your network, local network, is quite challenging. So from my experience, in order to decrease that kind of fear, you just have to figure a way to lower the risk of having to spend too much. So one of the way, if you would like to go out and explore, is maybe you can find a country or a place that you already have contact, and it won't take you too much resource to figure out things yourself, and then, or maybe cheaper place. Yeah, so for example, like me, I didn't want to spend too much money and go overseas because I wasn't sure. When I was taking Master of Architecture, I wasn't sure this will be my passion forever. But because I've got that scholarship, so I was thinking, why not I just go? Even if I don't like it, 3 months later, I can always come back, and I don't spend a single cent. Yeah, so I think there's a lot of opportunity outside. You just have to actively seek out.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice from both speakers. So first thing, be patient with yourself. Slowly learn everything and don't get mad if you cannot really adopt straight away. And also know yourself whether it's financially viable for yourself. And if it's not, find opportunities that can provide that financial support for you to go outside. I think we have another interesting question. So this question is from one Siti Haja Omar. She asks, what is the most difficult moment during your time working overseas? Maybe Camilla can go first.
I think just to start, I mean, like just for the when you are still new, I guess, and then you realize that this is totally a different world than how you normally do things. Especially me, been working in the industry for 8 years. I'm accustomed to a certain way of doing things. So for me to start to learn new things is quite slow for me. But people has been very kind, and they also has been very understanding. So it helps a lot for me to give me time for myself to adopt, learn their system, and then like after that you also share your knowledge and then your experience to them, and then like it helps them in a way too. So the most challenging part, I guess, is just how to start doing things there, and then after you like get used to it, it becomes like more like a routine, and then it's just like an everyday things. Yeah, same.
Okay, thank you, Camille. What about Hooi Shan?
I think for me, the most challenging part is trying to understand people coming from different culture. So when I still vaguely remember the first few weeks when I was there, how I communicate with them is how we communicate in Malaysia. It's more straightforward. It's more like we don't take things so personal. So there was one time I was commenting something my friends did, and in a way how we communicate in Malaysia, of course. And she gave me a totally different reaction where he misunderstood that I was trying to judge her and put her down, which I was is totally out of my expectation. So like certain words and certain way of communication, I think that is the biggest challenge for me, especially in my first few weeks and maybe 1 to 2 months. But after you get used to that, you understand where the boundary is, and there will be no more big challenge. But if you want to be really good friend with them, that will be a challenge. Yeah, because after all, people come from totally different background. Yeah. Especially, yeah, when I was in Shanghai, everyone looks the same. I look Chinese, they look Chinese. And, I have to constantly remind them I am not from China in order for them to understand that certain things I won't be able to follow their method. So, yeah, so this is something interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah, coming from both speakers. So one is about breaking a routine from normal working culture in Malaysia, and then the other one is expecting different ways of communicating, although you're actually from the quote unquote same race. Is also something that we wouldn't expect. Yeah. When you go overseas.
And also I would like to bring one before I forget. So today, I mean, equality is what we take for granted. But when I was there and working under my professor, he made a remark which was very, very surprising to me. So, sorry, not my professor, my friend. So when I was selecting the research direction, she was telling me, oh, brick and concrete, these are usually selected by guys. So you have environmental design and maybe AI, which one do you want? And in my mind, I was like so shocked, but of course I didn't show it through my face. But this kind of a small remark, it shows that the gender bias is still deep rooted in their community. Even the way my professor treat female student and male student is quite different. He is very harsh to male student, and then for girls like me, we get a better treatment. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. So I think we have like less than 10 minutes to go. We'll just take in the last question for Fari Yaya. So she wanted to ask you guys how you guys feel about adopting like the different working culture overseas into our local scene. Is there anything that you think that it's good to adopt back in Malaysia? So maybe Hooi Shan can go first.
Sorry, your question again?
Like what is the good working cultures that you think that you learned back in overseas that you think you can bring back here in Malaysia?
I think it's the speed for me, because things get executed very fast and materialize in Shanghai. And for people who would like to experience that kind of speed, and for people who like to execute and not taking too much time on planning, on thinking, I think that is the place you can go to experience it. And then also they are very rich in their resource. So it's actually literally like what my professor said, it's up to you to grab the chance. So yeah, I think this working culture is something I learned there. And when I first came back to Malaysia, I actually, still practice this, but after months, after years, I slowly adopted back to Malaysian pace. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hui Shan. What about Camelia?
I think for me, like, I wouldn't say, I mean, like, I adapt to their culture when I was working there, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I want to bring their culture. They are, I think maybe it's just because of Bali, because of the island, Balinese, they are quite like laid back, very chill kind of people. They just follow their own pace, and then you cannot pressure them too much. And it's very different from how we work here. Here is very fast paced, and then like everyone is very professional. But over there, it's like a, you know, for example, in a meeting, normally we normally in a group of meeting, we have consultants and then clients and then contractors. But it's very normal in Malaysia for architect to highlight if there's like any errors or mistake done by the contractor. And I mean, like for us, we might as well like be direct. We mention the problem so that we can resolve the issue there, and then like everyone work together, and then we go home, and then like it's nothing personal. But for them, they are very sensitive people. They take things quite personally, I can say. Like of course, they say like we need to filter like the way we talk, but it's like extra in Bali, I find, especially with the Indonesian. They don't say things as it should be. They sugarcoat it a lot, but sometimes communication got confused, and like there's miscommunication because things just weren't sent correctly. So so things that I sometimes talk in the meeting might sound very harsh and for them, and like they feel like when you say something bad, you want to like pull down that person, but it's actually not. I mean, like the culture that we have here is that we don't take things personally. I mean, like we talk like this in the meeting, and then outside we are still friends. You know, it's common, but over there you really need to like, you know, take care of people's feelings and like, you know, be very careful, even if it costs you like loss and things like that. It's to that extent, meaning that architects say it's okay lah, just let it go, because you know, like kesian the contractor, the site supervisor, you don't want to say things like that, you know, like you don't want to like talk bad about him. But for me, it's not about talking bad about someone, but it's just us to resolve some issues. So these are some of the culture differences that I learned to adapt there, but not necessarily something that I feel should be brought here lah. So it's like it's different. Yeah, so that's how I feel when I was working there. One of the examples lah.
Wow, it's like a totally different contrast between both of you. Like one is like super fast and then one is like super laid back. Even it translated to the architecture itself. So I feel like architecture really do reflect the culture of a certain country. So that's really, really interesting. So I guess that's
we do have a common experience whereby you have to really understand people there in order to make effective communication, or else people might, you know, take it personally or take it the wrong way.
Yep. So I guess we can conclude that if you want to work overseas, first thing first, understand the people there, adopt their culture there. And also the last thing, be patient with yourself, slowly adopting to that culture and their working pace. So I hope everyone got inspired by both of our speakers. If you're considering to go to Indonesia, if you're considering to go to China, and we shall conclude our session here. Thank you so much, Camelia, and thank you so much, Hui Shan, for spending your afternoon, evening here. And thank you, our dear audience, for spending these 2 hours with us. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good weekend, everyone.